Welcome to Tipping Point, brought to you by Postal and NBC Palm Springs. For years, Palm Springs has been a favorite destination for the rich and the famous, home to big names at the top of their game, like Bob Hope, Merv Griffin, Lucille Ball, and of course, Old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra. So now, we're reaching out to people from all across the country who are at the top of their game and asking them to share their stories with us. They all have one thing in common. They all came to a tipping point. A moment in time where they had to decide if they were going to fight for what they wanted or if they were going to roll over and accept their fate. They'll be answering questions like, when did you decide to fight? Did you know you would succeed? What was your tipping point? We encourage you to visit NBCPalmSprings.com to participate in the interactive portion of the series, and I hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tipping Point. Once again, I'm sitting down with digital marketing guru Eric Siu. He's here with a bit of advice for those of us who know we want to start creating content but don't exactly know where to get started. Well, Eric Siu's been there, done that. He's got your back. He's going to tell you exactly how you should get started. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. What tips, Eric, do you have for our viewers out there that know that they should be producing content but aren't sure where or how to get started? Because it can be a lot. It can be very daunting in the beginning. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, so I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed nowadays when you have blogs, you have podcasts, you have videos, you are doing live events. There's just so many different things, and we do all those things, right? But when you start out, it's really important to figure out what really resonates with you. What are you good at? So in the early days, what I started with was writing, because I actually enjoyed writing in high school and in college. That was one of my core strengths. So I actually enjoyed writing. So blogging it came really natural to me, and I got better and better at it. And over time, I started with one channel first. I think that's the key thing. You start with one channel first, whether it's audio, whether it's video, whether it's blog. But if you try to do too many things at once, you're going to end up being very average, because there's so many people already focused on doing an amazing job with blogging, for example. There's millions of blog posts coming out every single day. So it's already competitive. Think if you're trying to stretch yourself and you're spreading yourself too thin, you're not going to do an amazing job. So just focus on one channel first, then you're going to do an amazing job, and then things are going to start to compound over time. So just to elaborate on what I was talking about with the channel, so I'll give you an example. When I first started podcasting, right now we have two podcasts. One gets about $100,000 a month. The other one is about $1 million. One's called Marketing School. One's called Growth Everywhere. And what most people don't know, it's like, oh, that's great, Eric, you build a big audience. But we all start from somewhere. And the first podcast, Growth Everywhere, after the first year, I was only getting 9 downloads a day. And to put things into context, I mean, the average podcast gets about 190 downloads a month, right? That's across the entire world. Now, after the second year, I was only getting 30 downloads a day. So the key thing here is persistence. If you know you're doing a good job and you know you're getting value from it, like when I was first doing my first podcast, I was interviewing a lot of amazing people that I otherwise would not have access to. So we're talking best-selling authors, we're talking billionaires, we're talking businesses, just all this different perspective. Think of it as free mentorship. And I'm not saying everyone should start an interview podcast, but for me, that was the value I was getting. And other people that were listening to it, that was just kind of icing on the cake. And what happened for me was I started having people tweeting at me, emailing me, saying, Eric, like, this is amazing content, but I just don't know why this is not, more people aren't seeing this and more people aren't aware of it, like they should be aware of it. And that was enough for me to keep going too. So the learning and the unsolicited response rate, or you can call it your URR, unsolicited response rate, these are the people reaching out to you and saying, you know what, you're doing a good job, keep doing what you're doing, and that's motivating enough to keep going. And for 2 years, most people aren't even gonna wait a year. They're not even gonna wait 2 years for it. So the longer you can delay gratification, and this actually applies to business as well, the longer you can wait on gratification. Even right now, I'm not trying to, buy like all the amazing things that I want, right? It's just delayed gratification with marketing and business, and you're gonna win.
Was there a single moment or a single incident, a single post that really stood out, that gained a lot of traction, or was the growth kind of steady, step by step over a longer period?
Yeah, that's a good question. So some people are good at hitting things virally, right? And in this case, it was slow and steady growth. It was a slow burn over time. It took time to get there. And the longer, look, it's the same thing with blogging as well. It's the same thing with building a YouTube channel or a video channel. It takes time. Oftentimes when you try to go for a viral hit, easy come, easy go, it's not gonna hold for the long term. So go for the slow burn, go for the evergreen type of growth.
Was there a time when you wanted to give up?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think with content and marketing, there wasn't really a period where I felt like I felt like it was hopeless, but there wasn't a period where I wanted to give up. I'm trying to remember for Growth Everywhere. Yeah, I never really wanted to give up. There are times where I just, I get busy with other things like saving my company, and I was like, man, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? But I still made it a priority because I knew I was getting value from it, and it was actually giving me, these people that I was interviewing, they were giving me, basically I was asking selfish questions on problems I was facing, so it was almost like free mentorship. So I don't think that there's any point in time, even right now when I feel like it's a chore, I don't think I've ever wanted to really give up. Business is a different story.
So if we're talking about things that are critical, increasing web traffic, marketing tools, what tools do you think are critical when starting a business? Must-haves.
Yeah, business tools, I'll talk about like right now what we use that I think is important, because when I first started a long time ago, different set of tools. I think communication is really important. So Slack, a lot of people have heard of Slack. I think that's really important. We use 15Five. That's an employee engagement tool, which can basically measure how happy your employees are every single week, and then also what they accomplish. You can also read between the lines to see how they're really feeling. Maybe they might say they're feeling like a 5 out of 5, but reality you can see how they're responding to things, and you can kind of dig into it and figure out how to nip the problems in the bud before they become a really big problem. And also they have kind of these you can high five each other every single week. So there's all these, we've basically gamified how we do our culture, and so we can see how people are feeling every single week. We do the one-on-ones. There's over communication that goes on here, and I think that's very important. We talk about building a great culture. Those are two things that really come to mind, and obviously there's a whole suite of tools. I think every single business is different, but I think for every single business that I've been a part of, Slack has been critical. Obviously there's a lot of different from payroll perspective, Gusto has been really important to us because it helps us manage payroll without having to have to fill out all this paperwork. Because as a business owner, it starts to really make you tired when you have to worry about paperwork. So those three things come to mind. And if I'm going to give a marketing tool, Google Analytics, look, it's free. I'm not going to mention all the paid tools that we use. We can talk about paid tools another time. But I think those four things, talking about kind of marketing and also your business, I think those are a good place to start.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our next episode where Eric Siu teaches us about the payback period, what it is and its importance. Also, he's going to talk about funding a new business. Trust us, you won't want to miss it.